I mean, retail is complex in itself anyways. They are trading a lot of goods, so they're affected in every area that the EUDR presents. Being a sustainability manager, I think the knowledge should be there. I think the challenge is more to kind of handle the stuff internally and find a way to deal with it.
Hi Alex, nice to have you here today. Today we are talking about supply chains and the retail sector. Can you maybe point out who you are and what your role at osapiens is?
Yes, sure. I'm Alex Rüeck. I'm heading our sales team for the ESG Solutions for the retail and consumer products industry.
Great to hear. Well, so I just quickly pointed out that we're talking about supply chains, right? And looking at the regulations, we are hearing a lot about EUDR compliance, the omnibus proposal, but also CSRD. Some companies are kind of well prepared right now, some maybe not that well. Let's kind of try to break it down a little bit. From your perspective, what are the biggest challenges businesses are facing right now, especially with EUDR taking center stage?
I think the special thing about EUDR is that it's going to be a mission critical thing that companies have to comply with, and it has a huge impact on their daily processes. This is what makes it so complex for companies to deal with.
And focusing on the retail sector, is there any more specific challenge that companies are facing?
I mean, retail is complex in itself anyways, so they have a lot of different kind of like I said, processes. So they're importers, sometimes they're producers, they are trading a lot of goods, so they're affected in every area that the EUDR presents. They have complex supply chains and they have a lot of locations, either worldwide or in a specific area.
Okay, and the new EUDR deadline is approaching quickly, right? Like the omnibus proposal is raising the pressure as well. If you were kind of newly appointed to the sustainability landscape today, right? Where would you begin? What are your top priorities if you want to start right away?
I mean, talking about this year, I would start with the most with the topic with the most time pressure, which is in fact EUDR as of now. But like kind of totally starting new in an organization, I would check which resources are available already, because there are a lot of different people in different departments that have a lot of knowledge that newly appointed people can profit from as well. Yeah.
So you would first of all start internally structuring your processes, or how would you describe this part of process?
Yes, because I mean, what we see is that those kind of let's say projects or kind of it's a lot of change management. There's a lot of different departments involved. So I think one of the main points is to get the internal processes clear. And then, of course, gaining knowledge about all the different legislations and topics. But being a sustainability manager, I think the knowledge should be there. I think the challenge is more to kind of handle the stuff internally and find a way to deal with it.
Is there any best practice you already developed that did quite a really good job in implementing EUDR in the retail sector?
It's getting all relevant people on board at an early stage. This is also what we see on when we see companies that are very successful or have a very smooth process, is that they understand that EUDR is different than, for example, CSRD reporting or like the German Supply Chain Due Diligence Act, which companies had to comply with before. It requires a lot more people working together, getting their processes straight. And it's also a big IT project. Always depending on the size of the company, but the bigger and the more complex a company is, the more EUDR relevant suppliers and purchase orders they have, the more it turns into a huge IT project because all the data in the end has to be gathered and it has to be somehow submitted to the EU or to the EU system, which means there's a lot a lot of IT involvement included, and this is I think this is kind of new to especially kind of projects that are mainly handled in the sustainability team.
You already mentioned IT projects. EUDR is also about a lot of data, right? And collecting these data in order to gain transparency. What's your take on how companies can tackle especially this challenge in collecting all of this data?
Simply said, using a tool like osapiens, it's making their lives a lot easier. Like I think, as I said, it's a lot of work, and this is work you simply. I mean, having a certain size, you cannot take manually. I mean, it would require a lot of people only working on this, only sending messages, sending emails to suppliers. So having a digital tool in place helps a lot.
Can you point out what the main features of this tool are that especially also retailers really love about it?
I mean, yeah, automating manual workflows. So automatically collecting data from the suppliers, having workflows in place which send out questionnaires in case there are remaining questions, asking for certificates, automatically mapping them to the EUDR risk scores. And then in the end, also automating the process with the submission to the EU. That in a best case scenario, they just have a minimum effort to do in there, like requiring manual work, and the rest is automated via a solution.
Okay, perfect. So now talking about maybe companies which are not using the osapiens Hub right now. Do you have an example where a company, for example, underestimated the EUDR and took the wrong approach, or maybe also learned from it?
I mean, pointing out that somebody did something wrong is probably not something I should do in my position. But yeah, I mean, it's a total opposite of this example I've just given. There is in fact a lot of companies who underestimated the IT efforts that are required, and also underestimated in which cases they're affected in the end by the EUDR, and what it requires, plus what business impact it can have if you are not compliant. For example, that the goods cannot be taken into your warehouse or into the production. This is something some companies did not have on the map, and which leads to them now kind of being exaggerating a bit, panicking because the deadline is approaching, and they really need to find a new way to deal with it, and they have a lot of time pressure.
Okay, got it. So even if companies are maybe not directly affected by, let's say, EUDR or maybe also CSRD, they're kind of watching these developments, right? Would you recommend that they take voluntarily action? So what would be the advantage to kind of prepare for these regulations, even if we are not affected by them?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two different answers to this. If we talk about EUDR or CSRD, I mean, EUDR by nature, it is pretty much defined who is affected, in which commodities, and what you have to do. And if you're not affected, you can be happy that you don't have to do anything regarding that. But there's also still companies maybe being located in Switzerland or outside of the European Union who would not have to kind of be EUDR compliant, but which benefit from still using, for example, our tool, because then they can simply pass on the information which they have gathered from their suppliers onto the supplier that is EUDR relevant, which can have a positive impact on how their customer is dealing with them, and then how happy he is with them. When we talk about CSRD, it's a bit different because, I mean, sustainability reporting is not going away just because of Omnibus. It's not getting less important. because outside of being compliant or kind of reporting something to the EU, there's other stakeholders watching what you do kind of in that space, whether it's banks, it's investors, it's your customers, like the people that are buying from you. It's maybe your B2B customers who have to be CSRD compliant or like who have to deal with the German Supply Chain Due Diligence Act and who are asking you about how you deal with sustainability matters or require actions from you to still kind of stay connected to them or to stay their supplier. So I think there's still some benefits to comply even if you don't have to.
So that was actually a perfect summary, I'd say. So maybe in the end, to wrap it up. So if a company, for example, is feeling kind of overwhelmed by, let's say, the EUDR, maybe also the omnibus proposal, what is your one key of advice to help them move forward with confidence?
Attend our upcoming event, the SOS, which is going to take place in May. Using kind of knowledge that is already there, kind of finding a simple way to get educated, talking to peers, listening to best practices, and so sort of the best way I can I can think of would be by attending our event, or simply kind of either connecting with others or getting knowledge from experts.
Amazing. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Alex. And we will also have a special retail track at SOS, right? So there we will dive deeper into this topic. Thanks a lot for your time and see you next time.
Thank you.